Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our regular council meeting for January 16th, 2023. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional territories and the oral practices of the Blackfoot Nation, which include the Siksika, the Kainai, and the Piikani. We also acknowledge the Tsuut'ina, the Stoney Nakoda First Nations, the Métis Nation Region 3, and all people who make their homes in the Treaty 7 region of Southern Alberta. We're making this acknowledgement to demonstrate our continuing efforts to work together as we strive for reconciliation through increased and collective learning. Okay, we got a couple of staff introductions. Alicia, you're first here.
Thank you, through the chair to mayor and council. We have with us today Andrea Sutherland. She is our new development clerk, and she comes to us from Black Diamond, and she was working as a safety person prior to coming to the city.
Welcome aboard. Okay, another staff announcement. Randy.
Yeah, so we have Kelly Sanford sitting there in the back row. She is our new Alberta 55 Summer Games coordinator. She's born and raised in Brooks, has 3 kids, very involved in the community. She is the current provincial president of the Elks and oversees 98 lodges and 3,400 volunteers provincially. And just more recently, as you all may know, she was the organizer of the Paul Brandt concert that the Elks hosted at the CRA this past August. So we welcome Kelly.
Welcome, Kelly. Whatever, this is a big adventure for us this year, and I know you're going to do a tremendous job. Yeah. Okay, moved by Council Wardrop that the agenda be adopted. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Prentice that the minutes from the regular council meeting held January 3rd, 2023 be approved. Any errors or omissions? All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Nesbitt that the December 2022 RCMP report be accepted as information.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. If you're not aware, I'm Sergeant David Searle. I'm the Operations NCO at the Brooks Detachment and filling in for Staff Sergeant Yetman while he's away. So in December of 2022, we responded to 359 municipal calls for service. We lodged a total of 26 prisoners, and there were 111 municipal criminal record checks completed, and issued a total of 46 violation tickets throughout the city. Some significant events in the month of December. We responded to a complaint of a suicidal male suffering from mental health issues. We attended and attempted to establish contact with the male. He presented himself to us at his residence holding a machete and a baseball bat. We attempted to de-escalate the situation unsuccessfully, and CEW was deployed by police. He was apprehended and transported to a hospital for assessment, and as a result, there was a minor altercation, and one member received minor injuries. On December 20th, the Brooks RCMP General Investigative Section entered into an investigation in response to recent thefts throughout the city and county of Newell and surrounding jurisdictions. So essentially, around September, we identified a trend in our area as well as several other areas around us that property crime was increasing, and kind of looked like it was probably a group of individuals doing it. So in response to that, we worked with some partners in Medicine Hat Alert and the Southern Alberta District Crime Prevention Unit, and we executed a search warrant on a storage locker in Brooks, recovered $20,000 in stolen property as well as several stolen vehicles, and arrested 3 individuals who now have over 23 property crime related charges against them. On December 23rd, we responded to a complaint of a male armed with a pipe who was causing damage to a person's vehicle. They were also acting aggressive. We attended and arrested the 46-year-old male who appeared to be high on drugs. He was charged with assault, assault with a weapon, possession of a weapon for dangerous purposes, mischief, and resisting arrest. As for staffing, currently have no staffing issues. I didn't include it on what I prepared for you, but we did have a member resign in December, Constable Kelly. Wasn't on any bad terms or anything, just moved on to something else. So he will be missed, but other than that, we're fully staffed right now and operating A-OK. Looking at our statistics for December, any crime trends we see, really doesn't anything stand out to me too much. There is an increase in property crime throughout of last year, but that can be attributed to obviously the mischiefs we were dealing with in the summer. Stolen vehicles were on the rise, thefts were on the rise. Like I said, some of that is being committed by a few different groups. It's not like we have abundance of people committing property crimes in Brooks. It's groups here and there, just like the incident in September, which resulted in the search warrant. You know, we identify those groups and run projects on them, put them in jail, and you'll see the property crime decrease when they're in jail. When they come back out, it tends to rise, but what we're doing when they're getting released from jail is we're following up on their conditions, doing curfew checks, conditions checks, you know, visiting these people on a frequent basis to ensure that they're abiding by their release conditions. Any questions?
Any questions? Go ahead,
Yeah,
Councilor
thank you
Jessica.
for the report. I know it's been ongoing for a while, and in the news lately, seeing that in other centers, theft of catalytic converters has been increasing drastically. I know that a vehicle that I had, that about a week after I sold it, theirs was stolen. And there's an increase in thefts under $5,000. Is that part of that, or is that something that is a problem in our area?
Yeah, so normally thefts under 5,000 would capture shoplifting and a lot of like your property crime, people breaking into vehicles and taking things. As for the catalytic converters, like we're not seeing much of that in Brooks yet. I would imagine looking at Calgary, Edmonton, other areas around there that, you know, eventually we are going to see it. I know the province is looking at ways to combat that, and hopefully that can get put into place before, you know, those types of crimes come to our area, because yeah, that's a big one.
There was 47 vehicle thefts last year, which is quite a bit. And I know I was watching a program, I think it was last night, and they were talking about, this happens in the major centers, where the vehicles are stolen and sold overseas, basically to markets. What's happening with the vehicles? Are they being recovered here and returned to the owner, or what's happening with the stolen vehicles?
I don't have like the exact statistics, but I can say, like, from my experience, most of the vehicles being stolen in Brooks are being used for other crimes or for transportation, and we are recovering them. So most of them aren't leaving our area. They might end up in Medicine Hat or Lethbridge, but eventually they're coming back to their owners.
So, they are coming back, okay. Okay. Any other questions, sir? Okay. Sorry, yeah.
I was reading this sentence, and it says there are 732 files that were referred to victim services, and then 653 files with no victims. So how were they referred if there was no victim?
So when we conclude our files, there's a uniform crime reporting that we have to take care of before we conclude the files. And every file has to have a victim services scoring on it. So any assault, property crime, things along that, there's certain files where we have to make a referral to victim services. And the person may or may not want victim services. Sometimes we do proactive referrals if we think, yeah, if they don't want them, but we're going to send it anyway. But on those other files, you know, like a speeding ticket or something where there's no victim, we still have to send the uniform, or have scoring to capture that victim services, which would be victim services no. It's kind of confusing, but like, that's just why those numbers are so inflated, so. And it's just a scoring thing for Statistics Canada, so.
Any other questions? Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you for your time this afternoon,
Thank you very
Sergeant
much.
Searle. Okay, moved by Councillor Jeska that the following items of correspondence be received as information, any updates on council workshops, council conferences, accounts payable listing, and the Environmental Advisory Committee report. Any questions on the Environmental Advisory Committee report, or anybody got any conferences or workshops they want to report on? Councillor Jeska.
Yeah, just, it was the initial meeting of the Alberta Municipal Climate Leadership Council, and it was on January 12th by Teams video conference. There were 30 participants, 11 city representatives, 11 town representatives, 4 villages, and 4 MDs. It was facilitated by members of the Municipal Climate Action Center Project team, which has been in action since 2009, and the Community Energy Project Association, which was created in 1995. So this, the workshop was mainly, some of the objectives were to develop an understanding of the project for the people that were in attendance, to discuss member concerns, and to gather information for its future direction. So it has a very wide focus. It includes energy efficiency, waste reduction, waste management, recycling. Essentially any environmental issue can be part of it. And along that line, we broke up into groups several times to discuss what our local concerns were and the things where our experiences lie and where we would like to see it going moving forward. So it will be developing tools to help move local projects and initiatives forward. That's the objective, and that's something that Municipal Climate Action Center project team has been working on for years and has put quite a few, I think it's put $60 million into it and gotten $150 million in energy efficiency and energy returns. So the tools are the council itself. They're developing an ABM CLC playbook based on one that British Columbia has developed for their own program, and also a similar planner tool that's based on a BC model, and then working in phase 2 towards a peer network to help communicate and target some of the immediate actions. And the next meeting is Thursday, April 13th.
Good. Thank you. Any questions for Councillor Jeska? Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, moved by Councillor Idris that the 2022 Fire Services Year-End Administrative Report be accepted as information. Kevin.
Thank you, Your Worship, and to all of Council. If I may say just before I start, huge thanks to Mayor and Council for allowing city staff to participate in an all-day safety workshop this past Friday. It was outstanding. Great value in that. As relates to my report attached, please find the Fire Services Year-End Report, and it's summarized as follows. So emergency responses remain the same as 2021. In 2022, we had 485 calls, and the year before we had the exact same number. Training hours decreased 15% from 2021. Now, that's not to say that we're not training our firefighters. That's far from it. The decrease reflects the training that we have that's extracurricular, above and beyond. It occurs on the weekends, and in this particular case, we only had one opportunity, learning opportunity, which is the third line down, saying that we had one course offered in 2021. Fire safety inspections, now that's what Deputy Yokiyama looks after. There was a small increase, 3% up from last year. But the code infractions, so the infractions that he found doing those inspections had decreased by 41%, which was good, which I believe means that Deputy Yokiyama and the business owners are coming together and realizing the importance of fire safety as it applies to their business. Fire safety activities, well, it just jumped up because we had been in the COVID world, and now we're moving up. So that's great to see. And in 2022, we only lost 3 volunteer firefighters that either retired or moved out of the community. In 2022, we hired 6 volunteer firefighters, and that's mainly because we didn't do any hiring in 2021. Our regional fire training facility was rented out 15 days to 5 different agencies outside of the County of Newell. We also took our hazmat props out to the JBS Foods plant to teach their emergency response team hazmat. And the rentals saw slight increases compared to 2021, as we only rented it out 14 days last year. And on page 2, the volunteer staff retention program. This shows the results and the projections that go on. I'm not going to read this to you, but it's been going strong for the last 10 years. And in the 10 years, all but 1 year was 100% compliance. So in 2024, there were 7 firefighters eligible for this program, and there were only 5 that took advantage of it. The other 2 had quit and moved on from the fire department. So we, the Brooks Fire Department, see this as a huge benefit to us, and we can't thank you folks for allowing this to take place. So in 2023, there are 9 firefighters that are eligible to receive $1,000 worth of firefighting equipment. I won't read their names. And to date, no one has chosen cash over the purchase of equipment, which is just, we find outstanding. And in this year, 2023, there will be a number of firefighters that will be getting service awards from 20 years of service down to 5 years of service. And staff wishes to acknowledge the exceptional men and women that proudly serve the City of Brooks and area as volunteer firefighters. If this report is for information only, and if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions? Councillor Woodruff.
Just a quick question. The fire safety activities, is the current number now, the 579, is that average now for pre-COVID, or is that high or low for pre-COVID? You're back to normal? It's just such a big discrepancy between 2021 and 2022.
Yeah, just looking to see what the numbers are. We were in the thousands prior to COVID, and
Were
then
you?
slow to move up. So last year, I think there were 40.
So,
Oh, there
so
it
we're
is.
still low then, 579?
Yeah, we haven't got up to our norm. So in 2019, there was almost 1,700.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so 579 is a good start.
Okay,
Yeah, moving in the right direction.
great, thank you.
Okay, Councillor Goodenough.
Thank you for all your work, and please give our regards to all your staff and volunteers that the City of Brooks Council, I'm sure we appreciate so much. My question, I'm just curious on the Regional Fire Training Facility. Now, we've had the tour in the past, amazing facility. Smells like smoke in there, though. I don't know why, but no. Anyway, I'm just curious. It was rented out for 15 days. Is this an added revenue that could be for the city to attract more departments to be using for training, or is it kind of just, this is a good, comfortable level to have it at? Or would it just be more of a headache kind of to run something like that?
Sure. Through to Councillor Goodenough. There's 10 fire departments in the County of Newell, and they all helped in the formation of this facility. So there is no charge when they use the facility. The facility gets used a lot. So whenever somebody from outside or the County of Newell wishes to use it, we take advantage and get to charge them rental fees for that. We do advertise lightly the fact that we have this place to train. Typically, it's word of mouth that brings people to us. We could certainly push harder advertising. I don't know if it's going to happen. In 2005, when this was built, this facility was built, we were the only one in southern Alberta, with the exception of the city of Calgary and Lethbridge. Now, just about every small community has one of these facilities in their backyard.
Okay.
Hannah, Vulcan County, Tabor. So the chances of us attracting other fire departments really isn't that great.
Right, okay.
And so I don't see a whole lot changing.
No, I was just curious. My other question was on the equipment, just more for curiosity's sake. So it's great to see we do the $1,000. You did say that a few left their position, so that would have received that $1,000. So if I received that equipment, it stays with the department, or am I allowed to take it?
No, it's personal equipment to them. So as an example, we issue our firefighters rubber firefighting boots. Nothing wrong with them. They're rated to do firefighting duties. But leather is much more comfortable, and if they wish to get a pair of leather firefighting boots, they may. These range, just the pull-on ones, to over $700 a pair, or if they want laces, then it's almost $1,000. So in this day and age, you don't get a whole lot for $1,000,
Right, okay.
but they do greatly appreciate what they get. And so it does belong to them. So
Okay.
yes, they may take it with them when they leave.
Okay. That's all my questions, thank you.
I had a question on accidental fire alarms, and that one, is that, does that number pretty well stay the same annually there? And what do you do about that?
Yes, more than less. I'll take a look and see if I can see differences. But we do have a bylaw that talks about false alarms. There needs to be at least 3 false alarms before you can charge them, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And nobody really truly wants a false alarm, so when they have an issue, they try to rectify it.
Yeah.
So typically, you won't see repeats in there. There'll be different folks. It's just the day and age that we live in. People that pay for a security system and they ask for fire to be part of that. When the smoke alarm comes in, it goes directly to us, not to them. And if it went directly to them, they could say, oh no, just steam from the shower or a little bit of burnt cooking from the stove. But we would rather respond and discover that there's nothing to look after than be too late. So.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Any other questions? Councillor Idris? Sorry, yeah.
So I guess I have 2 more to go on with the false alarm. So my question is actually about the motor vehicle collisions. The number high is about 20% almost of your work.
Yes, this year, motor vehicle accidents has been exceptionally high, and from year to year, you never know exactly what it was. I can tell that a lot of them in the fall were weather-related, icy roads.
Okay. And your role exactly there is traffic, what do you do exactly with
Oh, yes, when we respond to a motor vehicle accident, there can be people trapped, so then we utilize the jaws of life to extricate them. But yes, safety is paramount, so we make sure that the scene is safe for our firefighters, the police, the ambulance that are on scene as well. And then there's a bit of cleanup that's required afterwards.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Councillor Woodruff?
Just looking at the comparisons between the emergency calls, the breakdown between municipal and rural, or like us in the county here, the fire alarms that were malicious, in the city it's 11.4%, and then in the county it's 1.2%. Is this just due to like opportunity? There's just more opportunity in the municipality, or is there another reason for that?
Yeah, no, when we make reference to the county, no, it's just divisions 5 and 10, so it's not a lot of people in comparison to the city of Brooks. And there are more people in the city that subscribe to security systems, which tack on the fire alarm system to that, as opposed to security systems in the county or in divisions 5 and 10.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, any other questions? And again, as Councilor Goodenough said, thank you very much. You're a major asset to the community there too, so we certainly appreciate what you guys do there, and we feel safe and secure with you guys around here, so thank you very much. Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Yeah, I got time for one more here. Moved by Councilor Goodenough that the Recreation User Group Grant 2022 report be accepted as information. Randy.
Through the chair to mayor and council, in 2021, City Council allocated $30,000 of County of Newell ICF funding to the Brooks and District Recreation and Parks Board, and this funding is to provide support to recreation user groups within the city of Brooks for facility enhancement, equipment purchases, or support on capital projects. The board named the funding program the Recreation User Group Grant, or RUG. The most recent intake for RUG was February 1st to 28th, 2022. During that time period, 9 applications were received from local recreation groups, and 5 of those groups received funding as follows. So the Brooks Figure Skating Club was approved for $805.48. The Brooks Regional Bike Park Association had requested $10,000, but it was not approved. Brooks Regional Ballpark Association was approved for $7,000. Brooks Golf Club requested $1,260, which was not approved. Brooks Bombers Baseball Association requested $4,515, which was not approved. The Brooks Mandinka Association requested $1,500, which was not approved. Brooks Minor Hockey Association received $9,544. Special Olympics Brooks received $200, and Brooks Gymnastics Club received $1,500. So the total funding provided in 2022 was $19,049.48. Therefore, there will be a carryover of $11,185.72 for 2023. And just a note that there was a $235.20 carryover from 2021 to 2022. As part of the funding process, user groups are asked to complete a follow-up form to demonstrate the completion of their project and also provide feedback on the application and grant process. All groups that received funding stated the application and follow-up processes were simple and easy, and there were no suggested changes to the process from these user groups. At the November 2020 meeting, the Brooks and District Recreation and Parks Board made some changes to the grading matrix used for scoring the applications to clarify the processes, and these changes will be applied to the scoring of applications received for 2023. And the intake period for RUG in 2023 will again be from February 1st to 28th. And the recommendation is that City Council accept the 2022 Recreation User Group Grant Report as information.
Okay, any questions? So just so I gathered, there'd be 40,000 available for next year then? You don't do another intake for this year?
That's correct. Through the chair to Mayor Patry, that's correct. It'll be just over $40,000 for 2023.
Yeah, so you do the applications in the fall, give them out in January, so they have them for the year then. Okay, perfect, okay, thank you. Okay, Councilor Jessica.
Yeah, thanks, Randy. Just that 10,000 for the BMX bike park, it was not granted. Is that because the project hadn't moved forward, so the money, there was no place for the money to go as yet? And if so, would they be able to apply for, or 20 for the coming, for this year?
Yeah, through the chair to Councilor Jessica, that's essentially right. They were looking for like a planning kind of report, which there was a little bit of a lack of information in the application as well as to like what that report would look like. So it was just deemed an ineligible expense. It didn't fit that criteria of facility enhancement, equipment purchases, or that support on capital projects. So that's the reason why that was not approved.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, Councilor Idris?
Going with the same thing, like out of 9, 4, almost 50% were not approved. So is there some sort of people not understanding what is this for? Is there something that we can do to do that? And then you mentioned that you talked to the people who received funding and they found the application process easy. Mm-hmm. But did you talk to the people who didn't receive funding and what could be the issue?
Yeah. So through the chair to Councillor Idris, yes, to both. So in the grant process document, it does go through and specify what eligible and ineligible expenses are. And we did follow up with the groups that were not approved for funding. A lot of it comes down to the board's determination of what's eligible and ineligible as well. So it's whether, you know, it could be seen as a piece of equipment or a promotional item, for example, that's up to the board's discretion. So it's sometimes a little bit of a gray area, but we do follow up and give them suggestions for applying for next time to see if they can maybe capitalize on this funding in a future year. Yeah.
Go ahead, yeah, Councilor Idris?
Also, and maybe this has been discussed before in a previous council meeting or something, why did we go with the idea of just that a period of application? Why didn't we do the application? Like, for example, with the tourism board, they have similar funding and it goes, you can apply anytime throughout the year.
Through the chair to Councillor Idris, my recollection is that they wanted to just make it as fair as possible so that all groups applied at the same time, access the funding at the same time, so that if the funding is allocated the beginning of the year, there's nothing left by the end of the year. So if all of the applications are made at the same time, then the board can look at this once per year and have that meeting to look at all of the applications each year. It just makes it a little bit more efficient that way as well, rather than having to have multiple meetings every year to review the applications and allocate funding.
Like there, as I said, there is, and this is to council, there is a similar process with the tourism board, and there is no application period, and when the money is finished, the money is finished. That may help actually with the idea of maybe having almost 20,000 leftovers if there is a continuous process, so maybe we can look at
Yeah, with Arts, Culture, and Heritage, we only do the one intake a year there too, because the intent is that they're planning their projects for the year ahead there too. So, yeah, we do it just at the beginning of the year there too. So just the one intake. And I know with the tourism, they had a couple of different intakes on that too. Yeah.
There is no intake
yeah.
period, it's just an ongoing intake.
Oh, yeah, they used to just have two, but okay, maybe it's changed now. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Councilor Wardrop?
So with that, is the funding then throughout the year dispersed? Like whenever somebody applies, then you go through the approval process and then they're approved, then it's dispersed? Oh, okay. Okay. And just to add to your previous question, that kind of gray area piece where like it was at like a board's discretion, that was one of the reasons too that we revamped the grading matrix. So I believe this next intake period, it will be, we'll have better results, and hopefully there won't be so many gray area kind of applications. But do you find, Mayor Petrie, that the one intake period is potentially limiting? Like if we made the intake period a little bit longer, then you would have more applicants? And to Randy, do you believe that that would help in terms of the amount of applicants that we would get?
Through the chair to Councilor Wardrop, it's a tough question. I think the nice thing about the one intake is that we can really push it and advertise for it and make people aware of it one time per year. So we actually do quite a bit of advertising for this program leading up to the intake period. If we did it throughout the year, there might not be that awareness and until maybe people realized that it was there, perhaps. Just from an administrative perspective, the one intake makes it a lot easier to administer, and even from the rec board like meeting perspective, to have like, we have the one meeting every year that we review all of the applications and sit down and score and grade them. If we took them in throughout the year, I think the grading matrix would have to be looked at again, because you're not necessarily comparing things throughout the year. You're just allocating funding until the funding's gone, potentially, right? So
to clarify, sorry, I'm not suggesting throughout the year, but just to extend the intake time, because it's 1 month, right, from February.
That's correct. Yeah, and that's never been a suggestion from the user groups, so I'm not sure if that would help or not. This was only the second year of intakes, and we did see double the applications this year. We do send out emails when they open up to all of our user groups, like send them out directly from my email, so try to get the word out. If it's something where it's like, you know, we get a lot of questions afterwards, that might be a suggestion we bring up to the board in November when we're looking at revamping and revising the process, so.
Or a bunch of applicants right at the end because
Yeah.
they weren't aware until whenever, but.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah, Councillor Wardrop, I know you're on the rec board there too, and same with Councillor Nesbitt. Maybe if you want to take that back to the rec board, that decision on that there too. Yeah. Yeah.
Just-
Okay, Councillor
was-
Goodenough, did you have a question? Yeah.
Just a minor question. I see the carryover, which is always nice to have a carryover. But, and obviously we're not privy to seeing the applications. But like, you know, for the Brooks Bombers, I'm guessing when it says apparel, I'm guessing new jerseys. I'm assuming that at 4,515, right? So, no, that's not, or whatever, I don't know what players' apparel would be, but doesn't it make sense to use that money up, or no?
Through the chair to Councillor Goodenough. So what the application for there was actually apparel that the board deemed would be used for promotional purchases, not necessarily equipment.
Okay, thank you.
And I just wanted to add to the extending the intake, the other thing we might have to consider is that the deadline to use the funding is December 31st, so extending that intake could cut into the time that any of those groups could use it, so.
Good to know. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, we have a public hearing here. My apologies for the public hearing being late. It's 5:06, call the public hearing to order here for land use bylaw amendment number 2217. Gavin Scott or Alicia? Gavin, okay, Gavin. Call the meeting to order, an explanation of the proposed bylaw.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Please note my voice is off today, so if you can't hear me, I'll try to project, but I'm still suffering from a cold here. This bylaw 2217 is to redesignation a portion of road that was closed under bylaw 2215. It is to give this property that is located behind 1140 and 1162nd Street West zoning, as it had no zoning as a road, and the zoning would be moving towards commercial general. And a public hearing is required for this evening. Any considerations of the public can alter this plan, but in the circulation that we did have, there was no responses from the public and no concerns from any of the mail outs. So barring any further consideration of the public, it is recommended this evening that council complete second and third reading and adopt bylaw 2217.
Okay, person speaking in favor of the proposed bylaw? No.
There are none.
There are none, okay. Person speaking in opposition of the proposed bylaw?
Again, none.
Okay, any final comments, Gavin?
And none from my side of things.
Okay, we adjourn the meeting at 5:10. Back to our regular council meeting. Okay, moved by Council Prentice that February 1st to the 7th, 2023 be hereby proclaimed as Eating Disorder Awareness Week in the city of Brooks. Amy.
Thank you. Through the chair to Mayor and Council. Council has received a request from the Eating Disorder Support Network of Alberta to proclaim the week of February 1st to 7th as Eating Disorders Awareness Week in the city of Brooks. Eating disorders are the second leading cause of death among all psychiatric illnesses and are the third most common cause of death in teenage girls. Through open, supportive dialogue, we can help break the shame and silence that affect nearly 1 million Canadians living with a diagnosed eating disorder. Municipal recognition through a proclamation would draw attention to the need for eating disorder prevention, research, treatment, and resources. Therefore, it is hereby requested that the week of February 1st to 7th be proclaimed as Eating Disorders Awareness Week.
Okay, any questions? To the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, moved by Councillor Nesbitt that the direct control subdivision of Block 3, Plan 8411-17-4 within Northwest 1/4 4 1914, West 4M, Certificate of Title Number 221, 128,990 to subdivide a 12.85 acre, 5.20 hectare parcel of land into the development of blocks, and a series of roadways be approved, subject to the following. Should I read the rest of this here?
Yes.
Okay, in reserve, a deferred reserve caveat is registered on title as instrument 931140-079. The reserve interest in the land is .61 hectares or 39 acres. Upon payment of the entire reserve amount, the caveat will be discharged from the title. The conditions are pursuant to Section 6541D of the Municipal Government Act, all outstanding property taxes shall be paid to the City of Brooks. That pursuant to Section 6551B of the Municipal Government Act, the applicant or owner or both enter into and comply with development agreement with the City of Brooks, which shall be registered concurrently with the final plan against the titles being created. That the 3.5 millimeter utility right-of-way plan and agreement as required by the City of Brooks shall be established prior to finalization of the application. Street names shall be provided and labeled on the final plan of the survey to the satisfaction of the city prior to endorsement of the subdivision, and that roadways be extended on the plan of survey into the remainder of Block 3, Plan 8411-17-4 to an extent that the cul-de-sac turn around be established. Where the cul-de-sac radius falls outside the roadway alignment, the balance of the land for the cul-de-sac shall be registered by the right-of-way agreement and plan to the satisfaction of the city. The access right-of-way plan and the agreement shall provide legal egress until such time as the roadway is developed in its entirety. Okay, Gavin.
Yeah, so through the chair to mayor and council, that description provides you with the essential portion of what is necessary to adopt this evening's proposal for subdivision. By means of background, you should understand that a direct control district was established for the land, and as such, any subdivision that is to be approved would normally be processed not through council, but through the MPC. In the case of direct control, though, this wasn't subdelegated to the MPC and it remains as your purview and your decision-making authority. The property itself is in keeping with the proposed direct control district as outlined in the land use bylaw under section 8.2 of the direct control district. And you can see within the diagram of the report that what is being proposed for the subdivision is pretty much in alignment with what was presented to council for the direct control district. And if you have any further questions, I'd be willing to answer them. Thank you.
Any questions? Okay. I don't have any no, okay. Okay, to the motion then. All those in favor? Carried. Thanks, Gavin. Okay, moved by Councilor Jessica that bylaw number 2217 be read a second time. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councilor Idris that the bylaw number 2217 being a bylaw of the City of Brooks in the province of Alberta to amend bylaw 1412 being the land use bylaw be read a third time and adopted. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, moved by Councilor that the Brooks Bandits presentation be accepted as information. Nathan, if you want to come aboard here.
That has an on-off switch too. Well, thank you. So the Brooks Bandits have expressed interest in bidding on the 2024 and 2025 Centennial Cup, which is Canada's National Junior A Championship. We hosted the 2019 championship, which Hockey Canada deemed one of the most successful ever. Funds from that tournament, of course, we reinvested into the community's hockey infrastructure, minor hockey, scholarship programs, and future events. The economic impact from that event was estimated to be about $3.5 million. Recently, since the COVID-19 pandemic, Hockey Canada has changed the National Junior A Championship and increased the amount of teams that make the tournament. When we hosted in 2019, it was a 5-team tournament, including the Bandits. Now it's a 10-team tournament, and most recently in Estevan, Saskatchewan, some of you were there, 10-team tournament, which Hockey Canada has indicated for the next 3 national championships, it'll be a 10-team tournament. So we've already expressed interest to Hockey Canada in our intention to bid on either 2024 or 2025. We can't get both, but I'd like to get one. There would be 25 games hosted from either May 7th to 19th, 2024, or May 6th to 18th, 2025, here in Brooks. All games would be played at the Centennial Regional Arena, while the Sparrow Arena would be used for teams to access for practice. Final game would be broadcast on TSN and once again put Brooks on the national stage. While this means, with the added games, increased revenue for tickets, with 9 visiting teams comes added expense compared to when we hosted in 2019. Double the hotels, double the food, double the transportation, double the team services costs. So, the Bandits are looking to partner with the City of Brooks once again on hosting this event, just like we did in 2019. Previously, we received a $25,000 grant from the city in 2019 as well from the county, and an additional $50,000 if the event didn't break even, which wasn't the case. The CRA was donated in kind as well for exclusive use during that tournament. To strengthen our bid for this year's, or for 2024 and 25, and due to the doubling of teams and the demand that will have, the Bandits are asking for a financial contribution double of what we received in 2019, as well as exclusive use of the CRA and Sparrow Arena from 2 days prior to the tournament starting until the final day at no cost. We are bidding against teams across Canada, including 3 others in Alberta, in Okotoks, Blackfalds, and Bonnyville. Bonnyville just received $175,000 from their MD and half their facility cost to strengthen their bid, meaning they're very serious about it. Other teams in their local governments will be giving us strong competition. And so, we've shown in the past to Hockey Canada and to the country that we have the team here, we have the facility, we have the volunteer base, and we have the city support to host a major national event, and we believe we can do it again. So we are asking for a letter of support as well to include in our bid from the city. Our official bid has to be sent to Hockey Canada by Saturday, January 28th. I'd like to point out Hockey Canada sent out the call for bids a month ago, so it's been a very tight turnaround, but and they will be announcing both the 2024 and 2025 Centennial Cup hosts later this year at the same time. Thank you.
Okay, I'll open it up for questions. I'll start off with the hotel space in the community here with, 9 teams coming. You almost have to double the amount, and we have the capacity, I would assume, in the community for that.
Yes, part of the bid guidelines is that we have to secure 300 quality rooms for Hockey Canada to accept the bid. We've reached out to the same hotels we've used for the National Junior A Championship and receiving our letters from them of support for that as well. As far as the host committee of this tournament, we will be responsible for paying for all the hotels, transportation, food, and team services.
I know you have to do that, but in lieu of that, you get money back. Last time you got 340,000 back. Part of that money will go to sponsor future tournaments such as this one here. How much money are you putting into this one here then? And what do you and I mean, you don't really know. This is a totally different tournament than what it was in 2019 here, but you had 340,000.
Yes, so the breakdown last time, it was future events, minor hockey, scholarships, and we're going off the basis too that just because our expenses are likely doubling, our revenues, we sense because of the added games, there'll be an increase in what we can put back through the legacy fund. I don't have an exact figure, but it'd be more than in 2019.
Do you have an idea what the economic impact is in hosting a tournament like this?
Yes, so it was estimated 3.5 in 2019. We estimate about $6 to $7 million with the added teams coming in.
How do you figure that out?
We doubled from the last time. Spoke with Black Falls too, and what they were putting forth with their bid. They estimate, Black Falls is estimating about a $6 million economic impact for their community as well.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Councilor Nesbitt.
I was just going to say, it's $50,000 you're asking for?
Yes, and
plus the arenas.
and in kind of the facility. Yeah.
Okay.
Councilor Wardrop.
I think I might have missed this when Mayor Petrie asked, but so I was just unclear how much is your organization putting towards this bid, or like how much would you guys be responsible for?
So we believe that our break even for this, for expenses, will be about $800,000 to break even on this, which would be double from 2019.
Oh, Councilor Idris, yeah, go ahead.
But that's not.
Oh, go ahead there, yeah. Repeat what you said.
Our break even for this would be about $800,000, we're estimating.
Okay, you're asking us for 50,000 plus the rent on the Sparrow and the CRA. Have you gone to the county?
Meeting with the county on January 26th.
Oh, okay. Okay, any other questions? Councilor Idris?
Would it be possible to get that in some sort of like a budget detail? Like this is what we expect as revenues and this is what we expect as expenses?
Yeah, absolutely. We have to, as part of our bid, which is due at the end of the month here, we have to give a simplified budget, expenses, revenue. We can send that as well.
Yeah. Alan, go ahead.
Thank you. Nathan, last time we did give the $25,000. We guaranteed $25,000, and like you said, another up to another $50,000 to break even. So the $50,000 that you're asking for this year, is that like the guaranteed portion, as the $25,000 would have been the last bid?
Yes, exactly right. Just as we said, because our expenses don't change from 2019, we still have to get all the teams here and pay for their hotels and food. So with 4 teams coming here last time, 9 coming this time, so we're asking for double.
Okay, Councilor, good enough?
I'm just curious, so these teams come, we pay for their hotels, we pay for their foods. If I'm not mistaken, like in minor hockey, if Brooks Minor Hockey hosts the team, we don't pay for their hotels for their families and their kids, do they? The team registers. So wouldn't that be, I'm surprised on a bigger scale that whatever team is coming in, that we're going to look after their expenses. Like, I don't know if you can explain that, or that's just mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, it's the structure Hockey Canada has for this tournament. A lot of teams across Canada have a different financial structure than us. Some are pay-to-play leagues. Many would not be able to afford to fly to Brooks and spend a week here for food and hotel costs, and that's why that is For every team, it's not, it's not, it's all teams that come. The host team is responsible for making sure those expenses are paid. It's how it is. That's decided by Hockey Canada.
Yeah, go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, thank you, Nathan. Again, last time you had to guarantee to give each of the teams that came, I believe it was $5,000. Was that to pay their expenses, or is that something different and over and above the hotel and food expenses this time?
I don't have 100%, not sure 100% on the answer on that, Alan. I can find out, though.
Yeah, I thought Hockey Canada paid for the transportation and the accommodation here, or is that part of your expense, or?
Hockey Canada will pay the flights. But we have to get them from Calgary to here. So there's lots of busing expenses.
And the hotel accommodation and the meals too,
Yeah.
then?
Correct.
Oh, okay. I'm kind of curious, okay, Okotoks, Black Falls, Bonnyville, more than likely the way this works is an Alberta team will get it in 2024, 2025. Unlikely that Brooks would get it in Okotoks in I mean, it would be nice that way. Any Eastern teams bidding? Or do you know of?
Yeah, so outside of Alberta, there's two that I know of. Kindersley, Saskatchewan, and Truro, Nova Scotia are the other two. And then 4 Alberta teams.
Okay.
And the last time Alberta hosted was us in 19, so.
29, yeah. Okay. Council, good enough?
Just a minor question. The $340,000 that we received from the 2019 tournament, could you give us a little breakdown on where that money was allocated? I'm just curious because if there's money in there, do you use that for future tournaments?
Yes. I don't have the percentages with me.
Yeah.
But minor hockey got 15,000. I could get that for you.
Appreciate it.
Councillor. Yeah.
Another follow-up question, not follow-up, but just I'm not sure what like the other rinks have for facilities, but obviously we're going to tie up 2 rinks here. Do these other facilities or other hockey centers, do they have rinks that have twin rinks at the same place? Would that be a disadvantage to us?
Yes, all the teams we're bidding against have twin rinks. So
I guess just because I'm thinking in the future, if this is where we're going, we should be thinking a twinned rink arena. Okay, thank you.
We're also using the rink at a time period when the rink wouldn't be used either the way. Normally, like, the ice would be out in May in all these rinks here too, in all these locations.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions, Councillor Idris?
So my understanding is that this is a Hockey Canada event, okay, and then there are rules and all of that around that. So for this contribution, if we go ahead with this, I know as a community we are getting the economic benefits and all of that, but what is the city, can the city get something? For example, is there some sort of like our logos and this be on Hockey Canada stuff? Like how much control do you have, or does Hockey Canada allow for us to be featured in the games?
So it would be a tri-partnership between the Brooks Bandits, the City of Brooks, the County of Newell, if they go ahead as well. Just like in 19, all of the imaging, branding, posters would have City of Brooks logo next to the Bandit logo, County of Newell logo. And then, as I said, all the games would be streamed online, and then the final game would be on national television.
Councillor Jessica.
So just on the economics of this, if you came up with 340,000 last time and you're looking to possibly double that this time, and we're talking about the big economic spin-offs for the community, but it almost sounds like a lot of the money that would be considered a spin-off is coming from within the community. So like if we're covering the cost of the hotel rooms and we're covering the cost of the meals, where and how much extra funding is coming in outside of those expenses?
If I'm not sure I understand the question fully. So where does the other money come
Well, when we're talking about economic spin-offs, so we're talking, usually that's food. These people are flying in, and you're bringing them here. So once they're here, you were talking millions of dollars of economic spin-offs last time. But the money for the meals is coming from inside the community already, I believe. The money for the hotels is coming from inside the community. So the spin-offs are internal. What large-scale external financial benefits are we getting? Where is that money coming from? Are we just paying for the players, and then the families are paying extra? Is that where this extra funding is coming from, or?
Well, it comes from the hundreds of scouts that come, league officials, representatives, fans, players, their families travel. We had a great contingent of people from Brooks that drove out to Estevan last May. So it's the people coming to the community in what is a large national event, and it was very busy in Brooks in May of 2019, and so now you're adding in more teams, more buses in here, and with all those teams, their families travel, and that's a huge part of it for sure.
Okay, Councillor Idris.
So with the Brooks Region Tourism, we have just actually started experimenting with this. I think it's a national program where they can look into sporting events and put some numbers and actually spin out what is the economic benefit of that event. It's a very standardized nationally, and there are a lot of background, a lot of research that has been done on that. My suggestion would be to actually connect with the Brooks Region Tourism and talk to them and see. I know you said this is just doubling what happened in the past, but I think doing it more scientifically through that system they have will be a good idea.
Okay, any other questions? I know they're asking for 50,000, but I kind of recommend that we take this to council committee on the 24th, and that still gives you plenty of time there. But some of the things that I think council had asked for was a financial breakdown of the economic spin-off in the community. I think the financial breakdown of the tournament itself and where the costs would go, sponsorships opportunities that Councillor Idris had talked about. Am I missing anything? What else? Councillor Woodrup? What's that? Oh, yeah, where that 340,000, went to on that there too, yeah. And obviously you probably haven't, I know you had designated sort of 3 different people that got the money the last time from minor hockey to things, but you haven't designated anybody yet for, not yet on that one, yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
Was there anything else we missed? Those were, and then we'll discuss it at council committee on the 24th then, on that one there. And then by then we'll also know what the county of Newell is doing. I think they're meeting that same day you said, or you're
I'm meeting with them on January 26th.
Oh, a
Thursday.
couple days later, and your deadline's the 28th?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a tight deadline.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Any other comments? So we'll do it on the, we'll talk about it at our council committee on the 24th. But if you can have that information to Alan by that time then, so we have some background on that. Councillor, good enough then?
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I don't know if you can answer this one, but it's kind of a flippant question, but it's not. Are we going to have Coach Pappy here in those 2 years? Because, we have a winning coach, and if we're hosting a tournament that we want to win, is he secured up?
Putting me on the spot.
Okay, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, normally what happens though, when you host the event, most of those teams are usually pretty good because those kids know they're going to be on the national stage at that time, and most of them, like even Estevan was a pretty good team last year. They fell apart in the tournament,
Sure
but in most cases that I've seen in the past, and you followed it for a while now, most of the host teams are pretty strong. I think Lloydminster was probably about the weakest that I can think of, and hosting a Centennial Cup.
And you don't have to worry, Joel. Ask my wife. I'm a much better coach than
Yeah.
from the stands.
Yeah.
I can step in.
But I think because we have tough competition with these other bids, but I think the two things we have that the others don't is we have the #1 team over the last decade plus, so that'll matter. They don't award these events to places where the team is average. So that's #1. And #2 is we knocked it out of the park in 19. So that'll definitely be in our favor.
Okay, thanks for your time, Nathan, there, yeah. And if there's anything in between there, Ellen will get a hold of you on that then too. Okay, go, one more, sorry, Councilor Wardrop, yeah.
Is it, is for our deliberation, is it the financial thing, is that separate from the?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So would it help you out to, if we could give you the letter of support and then the, like, that we agree to the ice rentals and those sorts of things that we'd already discussed? Is that helpful, or is that helpful to you?
Yes, in the letter of support, we would, if this goes ahead, it would
We
we do
could,
both.
Like, if time is of the essence, is it possible, could we do that part today and then discuss the financial stuff during council committee?
Yeah, I think, and I don't know the procedure here, but maybe Ellen can. I think we are in support of this because I think it's a nice initiative. It puts us on the national stage there, so we are in support of it. Yeah, yeah. And then we are talking about the Sparrow Arena and the thing coming up here right away there too. So go ahead, Ellen.
Yeah, so we are going to go ahead with the report that Randy has on the rentals of the Sparrow and the Centennial. Then at council committee, we'll discuss the financial thing, and the support will all be in one letter after that.
Okay.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you, Nathan. Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, moved by Councilor Wardrop that council support the Brooks Bandits bid to host the 2024 or 2025 Centennial Cup and provide the CRA and the Sparrow Arena at no cost for the duration of the tournament. Randy.
Through the chair to mayor and council, the Brooks Bandits Junior A Hockey Association has submitted a request for support from the city in their bid for the 2024 or 2025 Centennial Cup. The Centennial Cup tournament would bring 9 other teams from across Canada for the 10-day tournament. The request includes exclusive use of the Centennial Regional Arena and Sparrow Arena for 13 days at no cost. Attached is a summary of the value of the ice rentals as well as estimated staffing requirements for the duration of the tournament. So the recommendation is that council support the Brooks Bandits bid to host the 2024 or 2025 Centennial Cup and provide the CRA and Sparrow Arenas at no cost for the duration of the tournament. And just also note that the request for financial contribution came to me after this report was circulated, so that was not included in this report.
Okay, any questions? Councilor Idris.
So thank you for the supporting document, and I see the numbers for the hours, but I don't see the numbers. There is the number of hours for the staffing, but what does that mean financially?
Through the chair to Councillor Idris. So the reason why I hadn't included the value of the staff time is because we don't charge staff time in addition to rentals. So when somebody rents the ice, the staff charge is included in the ice rental, so I didn't want to double the value of the donation or the in-service or in-kind, yeah.
Councilor, good enough?
So we're looking at approximately then a donation, on top of a donation, of $26,525. On top of that, another $50,000 in kind, right? So for $76,000 plus dollars, just to put that into perspective of what we're kind of looking at, right? Just for clarification on that.
Through the chair to Councillor Goodenough, yes, that's correct.
Okay. Okay, any other questions?
Is that John?
I'm just kind of curious about the ice, because you probably take the ice out of the Sparrow Arena, like usually it's taken out at the end of March, and then it takes about 2 weeks. It'll be in there for about 2 weeks then. For the tournament.
Through the chair to Council or Mayor Petrie. So there are a couple options for the Sparrow Arena. We could keep the ice in for all of April and into the end of May when this tournament ends. Or we could, and then, so take it out and then reinstall it specifically for the tournament, or keep it in for the duration and, as previously presented to council, displace some of the users without ice in the Sparrow, so like lacrosse and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, and if I recollect that right, at the CRA, the ice was actually taken out and then reinstalled and painted again because they had to put the logos on and things like that.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, but we can cross that bridge when we get there. Yeah. So anyways, okay, to the motion then. All those in favor? Okay, anybody opposed? Okay, carried. Okay. Okay, questions from the media there. I think I'm...
Good evening, everybody. Okay, just a couple of things on this bandits issue, please. So, John, the city is in support of this application, correct?
We are, from what I gather, we are in support of the application, yeah.
So the letter of support will say that there is use of the arenas.
Yeah.
As well as the $50,000?
No, the
Just
50...
or that comes later?
The 50,000, we'll discuss that at council committee on the 26th, or the 24th.
So the letter of support then will be written after that discussion?
Yeah.
Because that needs to be included, I'm assuming, in a letter, correct?
Yeah.
What if the city decides that, two things. What if the city decides that they don't want to financially support that much? That's the first question. The second one is committee okay to pass the motion? Because usually they get recommended to city council.
Yeah, I think because of the timelines, what we'd have to do is, hopefully there's a unanimous consent to take the recommendation to council for our first meeting in February. I think that would be the procedure on that one. But, and so this would give, it could fail at that first meeting in February, but if we had consensus at that council committee, we could make the recommendation. They could put their bid in, and they would get their bid in time.
But if it goes to the first meeting, which is February 1st, then they've already missed the deadline. So the letter would be written essentially by the deadline. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, the other thing was in regards to the Sparrow Arena. I don't believe it was used at all last year. I don't think it, okay. So what's the use of having the ice taken out? Like, what's the cost, I guess, of having the ice taken out, replaced, or keeping it in for the month, please?
So for the Sparrow Arena, to keep it in would be it's about 5 weeks, would be about just over $3,000 in utility costs. There would be some displaced revenue, but I think we would be able to find other space in the facilities for most of those rentals. And let's see. If we were to install, so take the ice out and reinstall it, that would be about $7,000.
So council will be discussing what to do at that point as well, or have you decided to keep it in for the 5 weeks?
Alan?
I think we'll wait to see if they win the bid before we make those decisions.
Yeah.
And if they do put in a bid, let's hope we do have to make that decision.
And Senator, just so, the difference from this one to the NJAC, like they had the 5 teams, so they had practice time in the morning. Like out in Estevan, they had an arena beside it with 10 teams. There was 3 games a day, like in the major arena at 12, 4, 7:30. And that would be I would gather that'd be much the same for this tournament with the 10 teams. And then the practice, the other teams that aren't playing would practice at the Sparrow. That's why we need the other arena there, so, yeah.
That's it, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moved by Councilor Jessica that the meeting move, just wait, we need, where are we at?
That we're moving Campbell.
Okay. I'm missing one here.
I think right there.
Okay, yeah, moved by Council Nesbitt, the council closed meeting to the public for agenda item 14A, land matter as per section 16 FOIP at 5:46 PM. All those in favor? Carried. Thanks, Amy.